Hey guys, today is Monday, April 12th, 2021, and it's been a couple weeks since I made a video. I've just been working a lot, but in those past 2 weeks, I guess a lot has happened, and it's worth seeing if any of it will impact the polls that we see. Just start this quick one about Ontario. So if you live in Ontario, you know that as of last Thursday, we entered a 4-week stay-at-home order lockdown province-wide that people are quite frustrated about, obviously. One of the differences between this lockdown and the ones we've had over the past year is that now essential items are stores can only sell essential items. So there's a lot of situations where big box stores, Dollarama, dollar stores, for example, certain aisles are blocked off, so you can only buy food and what the store considers to be, or the government considers to be, essential items. So a lot of people are frustrated that there are items such as clothes that aren't included on the list, so you can't buy clothes right now. Maybe these will change in a few days, who knows, but as you can see here, headline says it all: majority of Ontarians feel Doug Ford has failed the pandemic response. So we're just going to do a quick story here about Ontario and how basically, especially with these new restrictions, people are pretty frustrated at Doug Ford. It says here 65% of Ontarians and 75% of Albertans say their leader is poorly handling the pandemic. And so basically the argument is that the government took too long to implement these new restrictions, and definitely there is something to be said about that. I think people would be more understanding of essential items only if this was like right from the beginning. The fact that it's a new thing now and it's kind of an old disappointing thing to go back into lockdown time and time again is probably weighing on a lot of people's minds. And it looks like here on the federal level, with Trudeau, he gets off a little easier, but still not very good. It looks like 43% approve of the job he's done on the pandemic, while 52% say it's a poor job. Now, there's two different jobs, I guess. Federally speaking, Trudeau and the federal government has to supply the vaccines, while the provincial government is in charge of implementing the vaccine. So, a lot of talk in Ontario about, what's the fair way to administer the vaccine. They were originally starting with older people, and now there's essential workers who are ending up in the ICUs. So people are definitely concerned. And obviously federally, we'll do a separate video about the federal one, but let's take a look at the Ontario polls right now, because it seems Doug Ford is taking the biggest hit out of this. But you wouldn't really know it from these projections here. Things have changed a little bit, it looks like, in the polling. Last time I did this video, the NDP were behind the Liberals, and so now the NDP have jumped ahead by almost 3 points ahead of the Liberals. And the PCs, they look about in the same position they were before at 40%. And I think this is the thing that I think is obvious for a lot of people. Doug Ford, obviously he's taking the brunt of this stuff, but the opposition to Doug Ford is basically completely split here. And we can see maybe we see the beginnings of something here for the NDP with this little bit of a jump here. I know that Andrea Horwath, she was pretty rough on Doug past couple days, I think, in question period, and that's something that the Liberal leader Stephen Del Duca, I don't believe he's an MPP, so obviously a lot more difficult for him to get his 2 cents in and get that media attention, I guess. So I think as long as scandals are happening with the Conservative government, I think that's good news for the NDP overall. We'll see how this goes, but we'll see. I think the regional distribution, we've seen some improvements for the NDP, certainly, in some key areas. But still, this was 99% last time I checked. Now it's 94%. Not really much of a difference, a bit of a dent, but obviously it's been this way for the past year. It looks like it's sticking that way. You can see here, Toronto, Conservatives still winning in Toronto. Liberals and NDP are close behind, but the Conservatives still with that lead. This lead in the 905 is basically clinching it for the Conservatives. The NDP are in third place here, and so this is really, if you're going to form government, I made a video about, NDP, they got to win more 905 seats. They're not in that position right now, and the Liberals are in a poor position as well to win anything. So, as long as this is locked down, Doug's got it in the bag. The fact that it's this close in Ottawa, this is this should be the strongest place for the Liberals. The fact that they're only ahead by 2, it's the only place they're ahead by, is discouraging. You can see here the NDP have gone ahead in Hamilton. I believe before they were tied with the Conservatives, so this is good news for them there. Southwest, NDP still in it, looks like. They've narrowed this margin a little bit, I think, which is kind of helping them in the numbers. And Northern Ontario, NDP's ahead as well. So this is it could be the start of something for the NDP, although right now, obviously, the fact that they're so close to the Liberals and the fact that really you haven't heard much about either party so much. I think maybe you're hearing a bit more from the NDP now, but really Doug Ford is the star of the show. And, he's got this approach now where he's, to be honest, he's trying to please everyone maybe, because this whole thing with restricting the aisles has been a sticking point for small businesses for a good long time. Small businesses, basically based on their size, have been forced to close, but the big box stores can stay open, pretty much sell whatever they want. So Doug Ford, rightfully so, said that was probably wrong, or that was wrong, and has instead implemented this system with the retail stores that are open only being able to sell certain items. Now, had you done this earlier, perhaps it would have been better, but looks like here. So just wrap this up. We're going to look at province by province. I guess this is Canada total here, so it's actually pretty close for Canada, but BC, they're pretty happy about it in BC and Quebec. Atlantic Canada, definitely very happy, but you see negative ratings, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, Manitoba, so we will see what happens to these governments. I did check before to see if there are any changes in the Alberta NDP Conservative numbers. They have not released a poll as far as 338 is concerned, but if we look at it, we have seen there is movement. There, the NDP has pulled ahead just a little bit here. And so if this continues to go downhill for Jason Kenney, we might see the NDP actually make some real gains here. But this is the difference, is that you only have 2 competitive parties in Alberta. Ontario, you've got 3. And so, regardless of how good or bad of a job Doug Ford does, he's locked it in for the foreseeable future. Something big will have to happen in order to change any of this. And yes, thank you so much for listening.